everyone. Welcome to our three-part webinar series called Buncee Your Holidays. My name is Ida Jimenez, and I'm excited to join all of you here today, tuning in from just different places. I'm out here in New York, so happy holidays to everyone who's in celebration. So for this webinar series, our hope is really to share just different fun activities and ideas that hopefully you could take back to your home or to your classes to really make your virtual learning experience as well as holiday experience even more fun and engaging this holiday season. And that being said, I'm excited to share that this is a three-part webinar series where today's session is actually going to be focused on how you can create interactive virtual digital cards using Buncee for the holidays. And the next few days, we'll be actually covering other ideas, which include how to make your own interactive snow globe, as well as your own holiday photo book so that you could take home to keep your memories alive even after the holidays end. And so with that, I'm going to get started, share my screen, and we'll cover a few different ideas from the community, as well as actually show you how you can actually create your own Buncee interactive card that you could share with your families, your loved ones, or anyone around you. And so let's get started. So give me a moment as I share my screen. And in the meantime, please do share where you're tuning in from in the chat. It'll be great to hear where you're from. So with that being said, so if you are new to Buncee, Buncee is what we call a content creation tool that really aims to make learning fun and engaging for our classrooms. But at the same time, while our teachers and students are using it in the classroom, they also are obviously using it for a lot of different reasons and reasons beyond the classroom. And so as a content creation tool, when you access the tool itself, you'll have access to a lot of different multimedia items. So whether that's stickers, animations, 3D images, you'll also be able to access emojis, different web images. All of these are Creative Commons licensed. In addition to that, you'll be able to access interactive videos, record your own video, your own audio. Basically, a lot of different media options are made available to you, really with the hope that you'll be able to create any sort of fun and engaging interactive content for any sort of purpose. And so with the holiday spirit in mind, I just wanted to share some ideas and ways that people are using it to create interactive virtual cards for this holiday season. So first of all, I wanted to share a few different examples of how people are actually using Buncee to create these interactive cards. So as you'll notice on my screen right over here, this is just a sample of some of the interactive things that you can actually do with Buncee to create your cards. So this is an example from one of our ambassadors, Bonnie Foster, who's based out here in the US, who actually just sent me this virtual card yesterday. So I thought it was such great timing for it. But what I love about it is that you'll notice she adds all of the different graphics from Buncee, the animations, to make it a lot more lively and engaging. But at the same time, while she adds her photo, she at the same time also records her own audio in it so that she adds that little personalized touch so that as you want to create your digital cards at a cheaper price and obviously going into the store and mailing them out, what you can actually do is just create your interactive card on Buncee, send it out by email or as a URL to your colleagues and friends, and then add this personalized touch that would be different from a handwritten card. So let me go ahead and give it a quick play.
To all our friends and family, holidays are all.
So I thought this is such a great example of one of the ways that some people in our community are using Buncee for the holiday spirit. And so you'll notice again all of the different animations. But going forward, some other examples that we're seeing, some people are actually using Buncee at the same time to just send it out to some of their staff members who are also working remotely from them. So this is another example by one of our Buncee ambassadors, Karina, who actually used Buncee to obviously make her interactive card to send out to her fellow librarians in her school district. So you'll notice all of the different graphics pulled from Buncee. So we have a lot of holiday graphics that you could pull from. Different messages that you'll notice, as well as the snow. So the snow is pretty popular for our community, especially if you want to make it a lot more interactive for your recipients. So that's just another example. Other things is that if you want to actually use it not just for, let's say, if you're celebrating Christmas, but also for New Year's, some other people are getting creative where they're actually using it as like a little bit of a timer to say, hey, you know what, the new year is coming in. Let's do something totally different, fun. So I thought this was another great example of how people are using it. Other ones where obviously a lot of people are loving all the different graphics related to the gingerbread houses, the snow, as well as the winter season. They've been able to put these different graphics together on a Buncee to really just represent what they're feeling for the holidays, and send out this quick personalized message out to their friends and family. And then another example I just wanted to share, just as a quick thought here, is actually made by my own parents. So they actually use Buncee also to make as cards, but at the same time, while sending it out interactively, you could actually print your Buncees out. So if you want to use it to actually give in person, you could totally do so, just like my parents. So this is just one of their jokes for one of their holiday cards, but this is my mom actually, but she was able to pull the different graphics. You'll notice you can add your own photos in your Buncee, as well as my dad here, but they were requesting a ticket for the holiday season, which obviously we're staying a little bit more indoors, but this is a dream of hers to be able to go to. But I thought this is just a great example of how you don't have to worry about like creating Buncees just for the holiday, greetings, but you can also use it to print out different cards as like gifts or as jokes, maybe part of your holiday envelopes to give out to your families. So that's just one example. Another one is actually made by me. And so this is the example I'll walk through how to create today too. But this is an example where I was using it actually to send out to my also family members to greet them from my family. So you'll notice that I also added my own photos, added some animations from Buncee, as well as recorded my own audio in it. So I'll show you exactly how you'll be able to create these interactive cards if you haven't used Buncee yet. So that being said, other examples I just wanted to showcase today is actually from our community. So we have a Buncee Facebook educators group. So you'll be able to join that if you're interested to follow along after this session. But in one of our groups, I noticed that we have Shabi Khan here, who has actually created a Buncee board with her students, as well as connected with other ambassadors in our Buncee community, where they actually shared their Christmas cards. So I thought I'd just give it a quick show here, but I thought this was amazing. So people are using Buncee boards to also create collections of their interactive virtual, Buncee cards and share it with one another across the globe. So I thought this is such a great example. So we have somebody, one of our ambassadors, also Riahi Hedia from Tunisia, who also shared her Buncee. We have other folks in the community who shared their Buncee examples. So these are just great. You'll notice again, of course, what differentiates your ability to create your interactive cards is that you have all of these different, animations that make it a lot more fun and engaging for your recipients than a traditional, printed out card. So I thought these are just great examples of Buncee cards from the community. But last but not least, before we actually dive in on how you can create your own Buncee, I wanted to share one of the examples of other people around the world who are using Buncee to create their holiday cards. So we had this initiative called Buncee Holiday Hugs, which happened last year, where some of our community members, Amy Storer in particular, really started this idea of, a lot of family members are spending their time in the hospitals. Where they're unable to really fully engage in the total holiday spirit because they're in the hospitals. And, some of them are facing some challenges, of course, right? Especially in this time. And so with this initiative, what Amy Storer, one of our ambassadors, had done is create a Buncee board where she invited people literally across the world to create their own interactive cards, to be able to share this board to different hospitals all across the US. And so I thought this was such a great, empowering initiative where different students literally just created positive, well-being cards to greet, people that are in the hospital, whether it's other kids, other, adults or so that have, aren't able to go home. So I'll just quickly go through some of the examples that are in here. So I loved how this turned out, another holiday card that just really lifts the spirits. So what's really cool about this is that while there are other people that are, in different places, the great thing about creating your own interactive digital card is that you don't have to be able to hand these cards out in person. You can actually share them in a digital form to other people. So I love all of these different examples. Some of them are private, so you'll notice that they weren't able to share it. But in any case, I love how these turned out. What's really cool about this initiative is that some of the hospitals that we did have locally to us, they actually took the time to print all of these Buncees out and actually post it around the hospitals to really give cheer to some of the kids, especially in the pediatric centers, who were really just, on their own, not having the ability to see all of their family members. So I love this initiative. So I really encourage all of you to be able to create your own interactive digital cards. And that being said, why don't we get started with creating our own buncees and showing you how that works. So before we get started, I just wanted to share a code for those of you that do not have a Buncee account. It's a special holiday code that will give you access for 7 days if you do not have an account yet. So feel free to take a screenshot of this. It's Buncee Holidays 20. And you'll be able to use this to sign up so that you'll have 7 additional days of free access so that you'll be able to create your own holiday cards for this holiday season. And so this is the code for it. And so I'm just going to take a moment here to just show you how to actually sign up. So what you're going to do is head to buncee.com. So what you'll notice on my screen is that you'll go to buncee.com, buncee.com. And then on the top right-hand corner, you'll see 2 buttons that are in blue here. You'll press login if you have an existing account, or if you are a new user and are wanting to use the code that I have shared, you'll go ahead and press sign up. And then on this screen, you'll notice that there's a red button that says get started for free. You're going to click on that. And then it'll take you over here where you're able to pick how you would like to sign up. So if you have an email you'd like to use, or you have an existing Google or Microsoft or Apple account, you'll be able to sign up with any of these immediately. And so that's how you'll be able to sign up so that you can follow along with this session. And so that being said, let's go ahead and get started with creating our own buncees today. And so we'll do this pretty quickly. So you'll notice how easy it is to actually create these own interactive content yourself. But what you'll notice right now on my screen is that I'm actually logged into my own Buncee account. And so I have a teacher account. So you'll notice that I still have the classes tab, the Buncees tab, and the boards tab. But specifically for this webinar, we're going to go ahead and head to the Buncees tab, which is the middle one on the top left-hand side of my screen. Once you click on that, you're going to press create a new Buncee, this plus sign right over here on the left-hand side. And what that will do is actually take you to the templates library, where you have the ability to pick from a template to really see if you're not ready yet to start from scratch. So once we have the templates library, what you'll notice first of all is that we have a lot of new holiday related templates that you could take advantage of. So you'll be able to select them and preview them if you'd like to see and decide if you want to use them. But otherwise, you'll be able to scroll right through. So on the left-hand side, let's talk about how you can find these holiday templates so that you can use them. So aside from scrolling down from the newly added side, you'll also be able to scroll on the left-hand panel to search up different templates that we have. So of course, we have over 25 different categories to pick from. But in particular for this one, what we're going to do is scroll on the left-hand side to the holidays category. So when you go to the holidays category on my left side, you're going to click on that. And what that will do is bring you to the templates that are related to the holiday season. So whether you're celebrating, Christmas, Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, or even the new year, there's a template for you that you'll be able to leverage. So that's how you'll be able to find a template for you to be able to use for the holiday season to create your card. So you'll be able to notice that right over here. Again, that's the holidays category. But for the sake of this session, we're actually going to create our Buncee from scratch for this holiday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just X out this templates library and bring you to the Buncee creation canvas. So this is my blank canvas. So if you're new to Buncee, I'm just going to quickly walk you through what you can do here. So on the left-hand side, you'll be able to add more pages. So you'll notice some Buncees have 1 page, others have multiple pages. On the right-hand side is where you're going to be able to add media. On the top-hand side of your screen, you'll be able to change the size of your canvas. So if you want to use the presentation size, just like I have right over here, you could do it. Or you could change the size of your canvas to be like a letter, a banner, a business card side, playing card side, or if you want to create your own custom size, you could totally do so as well. So you have the ability to change your canvas side. But for the purposes of this session, I'm actually going to keep it to the default presentation size. So now let's go ahead and get started. So the first button you'll notice on my screen in the center is actually how you'll be able to re-access the templates. So let's say you get to the screen and you say, oh my gosh, I don't know where to get started again. You can feel free to head back to the templates right over here. But otherwise, what you can also do is click to change a background or add your first media item. So let's go ahead and add some media to our blank canvas. So I'm going to go ahead, press this plus sign. When I do that, what you will notice right over here is that all of the different media options that I had mentioned in the beginning are available to you so that you could get creative and create, any sort of interactive digital media that you'd like. So what you'll notice here is that they are color coordinated. So everything in yellow is, represents things that you could create like text, shapes, drawings. Everything in red are all of the different graphics that we have, like animations, the stickers, the emojis, the messages. Everything in the center represent things that you're pulling from the web. So like I mentioned in the beginning, you can actually pull different web images. So you could search for the holidays for that. And then you can also pull interactive 360-degree images as well as YouTube videos. Other things is that in the green side, you'll notice that you could actually source things from your device. So you could upload your own files, such as images from your computer. So let's say that you want to bring up family photos or personal photos. You could totally do so. You could import URLs. You could record your own videos. So that gives it a nice added touch. So you could record your own videos directly on Buncee. You can also take your own photos from Buncee too, so that you don't have to, pull from the web or from your own device. And then last but not least, but not fully relevant to your holiday card, is a free response question and multiple choice question. So you'll be able to add those as well for any sort of content that you create. But in particular, so what I wanted to do for this is actually just show you how to create your own Buncee. So especially for those of you that are like me, that like to make it a lot more personable with a lot more photos from your family, I like to add my own images. So what I'll do is press on uploads, that green button on the top. When I press that, it'll give me the ability to add my own photos. So I can upload my own files. So when I go ahead and press this, what you'll notice is that I have actually my photos pre-selected here, but it'll give you the option to pick your photos. So I'm going to just select all of them and then press open. So it'll add all of them to my screen. So what you'll notice is that once I add my photos, I could still choose if I want to crop them to different sizes or anything by pressing edit. So on every photo, you'll notice that there's this edit button where you'll be able to edit the size and how it actually looks. So you could crop it, change it to a circle. So if I wanted to crop my images like that, change it to a circle or rotate it around, you'll be able to do that over here. But for the purposes of this, what I'm going to do is actually keep it to this size. I decided I'm going to keep it to this size. So I'm going to just save it and press done. And so what you'll notice is that all of my sort of changes are here. But again, that's how you'll be able to edit your own photos before you add it. And so once you're ready and you want to be able to start creating, just press upload on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And so that will be the upload button right over here. And then when you give it a second, it'll take a second to load, and then all of my media is added right onto my Buncee canvas. And so what you'll notice is that I have all of my media here. They're quite large. So I'm going to go ahead. You can actually drag and select all of them. And so you'll notice that all of my images were selected all at once, and then I'll be able to size them all down and move them around all at once. You'll be able to group your objects so that you don't have to move everything individually. So that's what I did. And so what I'm going to do now is just move these around to arrange it. So what I like to do with my designs as I add different photos is give it a lot more of a scrapbook sort of feel. And so that's the sort of vibe I'm going to walk you through how to create today. And so I'm just going to move around my different images right over here. So you'll notice my different family members. This is actually my niece, my first niece. So just lovely photos from the family that I want to send out to other people in my community to greet them for the holiday season. So I'm just going to resize. So you'll notice I'm doing it pretty fast here, but every time you select an object, you'll notice that there's red buttons on the side or red circles that will allow you to give different edit options or also select it so that you can move it around your canvas, just like how I'm doing it right now. So I'm just going to resize these. I'm going to just move my screen like this so that it's clear for you all. And so, yeah, so I'm just moving my images around and I think it's looking pretty good. And yeah, this is my family photos. So it's nice to meet you all and at the same time introduce you all to my family at the same time. All right, so I have my images right on my Buncee. So now what I want to do is add a little more media to it. And so what you'll notice is that I'm going to show you how to add, the holiday sort of touch. So what you can do here is press the plus sign to add more objects. But what I want to do first is give my, little plain canvas a little bit of a touch of color. So what I'm going to do on the bottom here is press change background. So on the bottom of my screen, you'll see this dark blue action panel. I'm going to change the background for it right over here. And you'll notice that once you choose the backgrounds, that there's a lot of different media for you to choose from. So first of all, you could choose the web. So if you want to find different images from the web, you could totally do so from here. You can also search for colors from your screen, as well as upload your own images and files like I showed earlier. But at the same time, you can also search the different categories. So in Buncee, in order for you to find the different holiday graphics, what you can do is either search by the keyword or simply just head over to the holidays category right on the bottom of my screen. So I'm going to scroll right through to it. So you'll find the holiday category for your backgrounds. You'll go select that one. And you'll notice that there's other categories of images for you to be able to use. So a lot of different ways to make your content visually engaging and fun for, any of the folks that you want to send your card to. So you'll be able to pick that. But for the sake of this one, I'm actually going to change it up and actually add a color. So if I go to the color over here, I just want to add some purple to it. So I'm going to add this purple so that I have my images all settled over here. And so now I have a background added, and I want to add a little more personality to it now that I've added some photos. So what I'm going to do is press this plus sign to start adding more graphics. So on the top right-hand side of my screen, you'll notice I press the plus sign, and then it'll bring me back to all of the different media options that I could pick from so I could, add some more media to it. So first of all, under all of the different red categories that you'll notice, the animations, the stickers, the messages, emojis, you'll always find a holiday category under it. So that's what I'm going to show you. So let's go ahead and find some holiday related messages. So we'll head over to the Buncee message, click on that. And what you'll notice is that immediately some of the newly added or what's trending is actually the Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays sort of graphics. But on the left-hand side, again, you'll be able to find the different categories. So you'll be able to scroll right down and press on the holiday category, and that's always how you'll be able to find your holiday graphics. So as I select the holiday category, I'm just going to look through for some graphics that I like, that I think would be great. So I like how this one turns out. I love how it has like the Happy Holidays actually in white, and also has a red little squiggle. So I'm actually going to add that to my canvas. So by the way, you can select one or multiple images and then drag them right in. But for right now, I'm just going to select one. So I go ahead, select my image. I'll drag it right into my screen. And then again, it's that easy to add your own media. So I'll go ahead, resize it a little bit so it's a little bit more scaled. So you'll notice, again, the little red circles show up so that you'll be able to scale it the way that you'd like. So I'm going to move it around. And so that's how you add some other media. So let me go ahead and add some other animations to make it a little more lively in its vibe. So I'm going to go back to the plus sign here. And then what I want to do is actually add, I think, a snowman. So I'm going to go ahead and use the global search this time. So what I did earlier is I searched by the different animation type or media type, but what you can also do is just search by a keyword right on the top. And if you type your keyword like I'm going to do right now, which is 2021, it will actually search all of the different graphics related to that search term so that you don't have to actually go through each of the different categories to find your graphics. So what I'm going to do is I search the 2021. You'll notice that there are other keywords related to it. And I want to add some other ones. So I see that there's 2021, great for, the New Year season. You could select it, add it to your screen, and then you'll be able to move it around again. You'll also be able to resize as usual. And that's how you add more media. But other things, especially I'm going to give some scrapbooking tips, is that I'm feeling like my pictures are a little flat. So the way that I normally differentiate my photos so that they pop out more, especially when you're trying to do a scrapbook, is I add a little layer background to it. So this is where the shapes come in handy. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a tip here. So when you go back to the plus sign, what you're going to do is head over to the shapes. And then you head over to the shapes, and what you'll notice is that there's a lot of different shapes for you to choose from. In particular, especially when I do scrapbooking, I love to use the square because when you add your images, which tend to be in a rectangle or in a square form, when you add these squares, what it will do as a background image is actually give it a little pop. So I added my square right over here, and I'll show you as a quick example of what I mean. So right now I've selected my square. you'll notice that I could actually add borders or an image. But on the bottom side, let me just move this little StreamYard thing a bit on the side here. But what you'll notice is that as I have my square selected, the action panel on the bottom in the dark blue side, you'll be able to change it a bit. So I'm going to change the color of it. So I'm going to pick this one, which happens to be as a color complementary. Yellow and purple do go well together. So I'm going to select this kind of little bit of a yellow background. I'm going to remove the border. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this border, make it to 0. And so you'll notice now that that border is gone. And then what I'm going to do is actually put it behind my photos. And this will always help to give your images a pop, especially if you're trying to make it stand out as a scrapbook. So first of all, what you'll notice is that now my square is obviously blocking my images, and that's not what I want. So on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll notice that you actually have the ability to layer your graphics. And this is a really powerful feature that will help you give added dimension to anything that you create. So in order for me to have this square not block my image, what I'm going to do is actually select the image on the bottom. And what you'll notice is I'm going to start dragging it. You can actually layer each of the images so that once I'm done layering, what you'll notice is that now it's behind all of my graphics. And that's how you actually make it a lot more as a detailed oriented, visual. So this will give it an added pop. So I'm going to add a little more squares. So what I'm going to do is just select it again, duplicate it. And this is a great tip that you can actually use to sort of give your pictures and photo books or scrapbooks or interactive cards another added pop. So I'm just going to add this. So now that I have it selected here, what you'll notice is that, again, it's on the top of my media. But what I can do for this new shape that I added, instead of dragging it all the way down, I can actually go to the bottom action panel where you'll notice that on the bottom of my screen, it says to front or to back. I could actually press to back. And what that will automatically do is bring this image to the back of all of the graphics that I've added to my Buncee. So you'll notice right there, it's no longer blocking, and I didn't have to actually take the effort to drag everything down. And so that's another way that you can actually sort of add a little bit of a design sort of tip to your Buncee. So you'll notice right here, I added it to give a little pop. I'm just going to add one more since this feels a little lacking on this side. So give me 1 second as I add that shape. And we'll do the same thing right over here. So I'm going to just go ahead and press to back, and that will bring it right over there. And so now you'll be able to see that this is a little bit of my mini scrapbook that we're creating live over here. So I'm just going to move my items here. So now that we've added some photos, we added some other stickers. Now I want to just give it a little more personality, especially that creative Buncee edge that we like, which is the animation. So what I'm going to do is add some last remaining items by going back to the plus sign. So I go back to the plus sign, and what you'll notice is I'm thinking about winter and I'm thinking about holiday season. So as a result, I'm thinking about snow. That being said, I'm going to actually add snow to this Buncee card, as you've seen in other examples. So I'm a fan of it. So I'm going to search up snow. And then what you'll notice is that there's other search terms related to snow that are popping up. So I'm going to just find some of the snow that I like. So I like this one. This looks like it's a pile of snow. I'm going to search for other ones that look like it's sparkling. So what you'll notice is that there's animations, and each of the animations have like a plus play sign rather. So you'll be able to preview if you want to be able to use that. That being said, I see this one is actually different snowflakes that are falling. So you can't see it because it's white. So I'm just going to add that to my screen. So I'm going to just add it right here, drag and drop, and then you'll notice, yeah. So we'll all of a sudden have this snow. We need to orient it again. So I'm just going to drag them, move them around. And then what I'll do is resize it a bit to make it like it's snowfall on the bottom of my screen, move it around a little bit. And then you'll notice my little flurry of snow animation right over here. And so what I'm going to do is increase it. So I'm actually going to give a little more personality to my photos here by adding this snow, like it's a little bit of a whirlwind. So that one is pretty cool. And then last things is I love snowman. So I'm going to make a snowman right over here. So I'm just going to search snowman to give it one last final touch. Oh, we have a Buncee snowman. So I'm actually going to add him. And we'll have this other snowman, which is also an animation. So I'm going to go ahead, click on that, preview it. So you'll see that this is something I do like. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that one as well. So now that I have it selected, I'm going to either drag it right in, but you'll also notice that there's an add button over here. So if you don't want to drag, you could also press this button. So dragging it right in. And awesome. So now lastly, I'm going to resize them again. And so I'm going to move it around, and then you'll notice my animation. I could resize it so that it's in proportion. And then I'm going to rescale it. So it's pretty cool. So you'll notice it's really easy and fun to actually go ahead and create this, especially when you want to just like move things around, see how it works. So yeah, so this is my Buncee so far, but I need to add a last final touch, which is this is a card that I'm going to send out to my family. So I just want to highlight that this is from my personal family itself. So what I'll do is I'm going to just add one last thing, which is my text option. So I'm going to add my text to say, to give it a message. So you'll notice that the text box edit shows over here. So it says Happy Holidays 2021. So I just want to write from the Jimenez family. So when I go ahead and edit my text from the Jimenez family, and then I'm just going to edit that and then arrange that a little bit on my screen. And so, yeah, so this is my little bit of an interactive card for everybody that I'm going to be able to send out pretty easily. And so you'll notice that it just took us a little bit of just 10 minutes to be able to create this. And it gives this nice personal feel that you can actually share out yourself. But before I forget, one last thing I wanted to do is, because I just mentioned the personalized touches, I want to also add audio, which is really great, especially right now where we're hoping to hear other people's voices, especially me, because I don't get to see everyone as much as I used to, right? So what I want to do is I'm going to select any of the objects on my screen. And what you'll notice is on the bottom again, you'll have the action panel change, which will give you the opportunity to see the audio button. And so if you select the audio button, you'll be able to record your own audio. Since I am sharing my screen, this might actually take a little bit since I'm already sharing my computer audio. So let's see if it works. Okay, perfect. So the share screen works. So what you'll notice right over here is that I can actually record my own audio. So I'm going to go ahead, press record. And then you'll see the timer right over here. But what I'm going to say is happy holidays to everyone, from my family to yours. I hope you have a wonderful celebration. And so now that I finished my recording, I'm going to press stop right over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and upload that audio. And so you'll notice right over here that the audio got uploaded. I could play it, and then you'll see the timer. And then you'll also be able to add it or replay again and remove it. So for this sake, I'm actually going to press add. So now the audio is attached to my Buncee and right onto this text. So that being said, we have everything created on my Buncee, and I'm ready to give it a preview before we send it out. So I'm just going to call it Happy Holidays and give my Buncee a title. And so let's go ahead and preview what we just created. So once we press preview, what you'll notice is that here is my little bit of a whirlwind design. You'll see my animations, everything again, interactive and intact. And then last but not least, the audio that I recorded. So I'm just going to hit play over here, and then you'll see the timer right. And so it's great. You'll be able to have this audio added to your digital card. So now that we've created our Buncee, the last sort of step that I did want to highlight is how you can actually share your Buncee to your friends, your family, or to any of your students or any of your teachers. So let's go ahead, and what we'll notice on the top right-hand side of my screen is the two buttons that says edit and share. So once you're done creating your Buncee, you're going to go ahead and press share. And once you press share, you'll see the share panel open, and you're going to have a lot of different ways that you could share your Buncee. So you could send it as the URL itself. So you could send the link to your Buncee so that people can see it. But the tip that I'm going to share today that maybe you haven't heard of yet is the ability to actually email your Buncee directly to your friends, your family, again, anyone that you'd love to be able to receive the card. So on the share panel, you'll notice that there's an option called email/RSVP. What you're going to do is actually press this button, and you'll see the ability to actually email your Buncee or send it as an RSVP. So what's great about this is that as you create your work, you could actually share it directly from Buncee as an email, and it comes as a little bit of a great email, actually. So when I press send email, what you'll notice is that I'm going to be able to add people into my email list. So I'm going to go ahead and search myself quickly. So I'm going to go pick Ida C at buncee.com. And so what you'll notice is that my card shows up over here. I'll be able to type a message, happy holidays to you and to everyone. So assuming this is not just me I'm sending it to, but to my friends, my loved ones, I can have multiple people that I email all at once. But I could send this message out and I press send. So once I type this message, it'll attach with this Buncee, and I'll show you how that looks when somebody receives it. So I'll go ahead, press send. And then what you'll notice is that it takes me back to my Buncee screen. And then when I go to my email, which I happen to, of course, have it already sent earlier, this is actually how that email would look. So you'll notice that Ida has sent you a Buncee, which is obviously I sent it to myself, but it says Happy New Year. And then what you'll notice over here is that this is the actual Buncee that we created. And so you'll be able to actually click on this. So it's a really great way for you to give this like awesome email that doesn't look like a traditional standard, text-based email that's done visually engaging and also in a creative way. So you could click it, it'll open up the Buncee. So of course, like I mentioned, we recreated this, Buncee itself, but this is how it looked earlier. So this is the way that you can actually create your Buncee holiday card, as well as share it to your friends and loved ones. So before we end this session and get started, I wanted to share one last thing, is that, as you start getting creative and create your holiday cards with Buncee, I wanted to share one last initiative that I invite you all to participate in. So some of our ambassadors, namely Christina Holzweiss, Barbie Monty, as well as Amy Storer, had come together earlier this year to create an initiative where they were actually creating greeting cards and thank you cards to send out to people on the front line. For those folks in the community that were really, making a difference in our lives and really trying to support us in whatever way they could, especially during the COVID-19 challenges that we were facing. That being said, what they did was put together this Buncee board where people, again, all around the world started creating their own Buncees in thanks and gratitude to share over to these folks digitally. So you'll notice in this Buncee board that there are different cards, again, where it's thank yous and such. So I encourage you, as you start to create your own interactive digital card using Buncee, to also share your Buncee to this board. And so what you'll notice right over here is that you could either see this plus sign where you'll be able to add your Buncee itself, or what you're going to do is actually take this code. So I'm going to just zoom it in right over here, which is Q9VRVZ. Again, that's Q9VRVZ. So I hope you can take a screenshot of this. But I encourage you to use this code and share your Buncee to this board, as they are actively sharing out these Buncee cards to our community of folks that are really making a difference in our lives, especially during COVID-19. And so with that, I'm really excited to be able to have shared all of the different ways that you can actually use Buncee to create your interactive cards. So I hope you learned something new, especially if you've been an active user of Buncee already. But if not, I hope you'll be able to see any of the different ideas, feel inspired, and be able to take this back to your classroom. And so with that, I'm happy to take any questions from our audience here, but thank you so much for tuning in. It's been amazing, and I hope that you guys learned something new and are able to start sharing and creating your own digital cards to send out to your community, especially this holiday season. And so with that, let me take a quick look if there's any other questions. But it looks like we're settled. So that being said, thank you so much to everyone for tuning in, and I wish you all a wonderful holiday season ahead. And so take care.